What's up, y'all? Peace. I want to talk about and address the situation in Gaza and Israel. I was going to start, I already started the video, then I stopped because I wanted to make sure I got the correct year right. But I wanted to address Hamas first and then Israel. But, so October 7th, right? When people think about October 7th, now they think about, what Hamas did. But there's a reason, and I'm not defending Hamas. I don't support terrorism. I don't support extreme religion. I'm not that religious, and I don't support what Hamas believes. But they picked October 7th for a reason, and I'm surprised mainstream media hasn't mentioned it. I'm surprised alternative media hasn't mentioned it. So in October 7th, 1944, there was a revolt by Jewish prisoners in Auschwitz. Camp 2, I think it's Camp 2. And they killed a handful of guards, 3 guards. It didn't last too long. It was suppressed. They were killed. The rest were I think hung or gassed. And this is, in these camps, people were being gassed and the bodies were being laid, and it was horrendous. Nobody supports what the Nazis did. I think what the Nazis did was horrible and atrocious, you know what I'm saying? Like, evil. And there's a whole history about the German society before Nazi Germany, so they have a whole history of not being democratic, So that's what took place in October 7th, 1944. I'm pretty sure a lot of politicians know that. They just don't want to bring it up for whatever reason. Now, so that's why Hamas did what they did on October 7th. That's why they did what they did on October 7th. Because in their mind, what they're trying to say is that just like the Jews in the concentration camps in Auschwitz, where we're living in an open air concentration camp prison in Israel and Gaza. There's Israeli snipers that guards the wall, so if anybody gets too close to the wall, even children, they get sniped out, which is true. And so they did the same thing. They broke out of the concentration camp, blew up the wall, and instead of the only difference was they didn't go after the guards that were on guard. They went after off-duty IDF soldiers. They went into families' homes and they kidnapped or killed the IDF soldiers and the wives, or some of the females were IDF soldiers too, but all of them were off-duty. But they were, IDF soldiers. That's how they were able to buy a house. So in their mind, in Hamas' mind, that's the enemy, because they're all soldiers, And I don't agree with, the only difference is I don't agree with going into people's homes, That's the only difference between what the Jews did in Auschwitz on October 7th, 1944, and what Hamas did in 2023. But, so I'm not defending Hamas, but that's why they picked October 7th and nobody got it. Because nobody wants to have that argument and that conversation, And with Israel, let's be reasonable. Let's be honest, actually. Israel's plan all along was to get rid of the Palestinians. They couldn't do it all at once because they didn't want to be betrayed similar to the Nazis. So they did, little by little, they expelled Palestinians from their land from the very beginning. There wasn't tension there before, but little by little there was tension between Palestinians and Jewish settlers because they started moving into the land, and then eventually we supported the creation of Israel. But not right away, but we did eventually support it. And we have to be honest about that. Now, I believe Israel has a right to exist, but the way Israel was created, they did it the wrong way, and there was no compassion for the Palestinians that were already there, you know. And so, and we're talking modern time, right? And little by little, you see any little excuse for the Israelis to move into the west, to parts of the West Bank or to Gaza. And we see, and for everybody who's defending Israel, and that's a lot of people, liberals, conservatives, people in the media, scientists, you know, a lot of people are supporting Israel, the Israeli government, I should say. Okay, that's fine, but let me address this, you know, the fact that in front of cameras, we've seen, you know, journalists shot and killed by Israeli troopers. Matter of fact, there was a documentary called Death in Gaza. So, and the journalist had the ID on him, he had the flag, he had everything. And they still shot and killed him because they didn't want, because they were trying to bulldoze the home, they didn't want it to be shown. And then we could talk about the journalist headquarters being bombed by Israel and other bombings of Gaza in the past. I mean, I don't feel like I don't have to go into detail about it because all the people who are pro-Israel and 100% know this. You know what I'm saying? You know this. And what's interesting for me, the one thing I've noticed in the last year is how many scientists are supportive of Israel. Now, I love science. You know, I've been since a kid. I used to go to the library and borrow books about the universe and about Earth. I didn't have the best teachers to teach me science, so that's why I went to the library. And I always had respect for scientists that want to do interviews and talk about science, talk about, you know, the future of the universe and how the Earth was created and this and that, and have so much respect for them. But like with the other YouTube content creators that I thought were progressive, in most cases, the same thing with the scientists. I'm real surprised about some of these scientists and their defense of Israel. Ivy Loeb is the first one because he's actually from Israel. I didn't know that, though. He was German. I think who's the other guy? Eric Weinstein, I believe his name is, who I was watching all his interviews last year and earlier this year until he said, why does anybody care about the Palestinians? You want to care about the Palestinians? Go over there and fight for them. You know, what about it? You know, I was like, I think it was him or another scientist. And these are people who otherwise I would agree with 99% of the time when it comes to life and science. But it was shocking to me to see these scientists who love to talk about life defend Israel and say they don't care about the Palestinians. You care about the Palestinians? Go over there and fight for them. Well, excuse you, but you don't have to starve to death, right? Like the Palestinian children do. By the way, not all Palestinians are Muslim. I know that's shock to some of y'all. Some of them are Christian churches have been bombed by Israel. Okay, so Israel is no friend of Christians. That's why I believe a lot of conservative content creators turned on Israel because of that. Not to say I agree with them, not to say that I don't think they're crazy, like Candace Owens, but I understand why they turned on Israel. Because they bombed churches with children inside them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no turning back from that. You can't say, oh, Israel deserves to exist. We have a right to defend them. Israel. No. Once you kill children, Muslim or Christian children, you know, I was going to curse. Screw Israel. Screw what they believe. Screw the Likud party or the Likud party. Screw Netanyahu. Screw whatever they believe in. believe in. No, no, no. Once you kill children, that's it. All bets are off. If I was the president of the United States, I would cut all ties with Israel and Saudi Arabia for what they're doing to Yemen. Blockades. Let me tell you something about blockades. Blockades are meant to purposely starve men, women, and children on purpose, so they can give in and give up and give everything to the government that's doing the blockading. Okay, blockades are a weapon of war. They're not doing it to defeat terrorism. You're not going to defeat terrorism that way. Terrorism is terrorism. You do the blockades to purposely starve children, because in their minds they think, okay, if all these children start starving to death, then they're just going to give up all their land to Israel or to Saudi Arabia or whoever wants to take over whatever land. But it doesn't work that way, you know. And that's a war crime. That's a war crime. Crime against humanity. Crime against children. Okay? So, no. Israel doesn't get a pass for that. Israel should not get any more passes anymore. Now, I'm sorry for the people who defend Israel, both in mainstream and alternative media and YouTube content creators. I'm sorry, but Israel's wrong. Now, if you think that's okay, then go to Yemen or go to Israel, go to Gaza, and just stay with them for a while. And I know you wouldn't, because you know that it's going to be ugly and you're not going to like what you see. So see it for yourself. People say, people always also throw the thing out there, oh, you never been to Israel. You know, everyone has cell phone cameras, right? You don't have to go to Israel to see Israel. You don't have to go to Gaza to see Gaza. Everyone got cell phone cameras. Everyone got drones. You can see it for yourself at home. You can see the children literally starving to death. And Netanyahu lied. He said children are not starving to death. That was a lie. Even Trump couldn't really jump on that. And I'm not a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter, because they all supported what Israel was doing for years, for decades. Okay? Israel's plan all along, and the Likud party, was to destroy Palestinian society and get rid of the Palestinians. That's always been their plan. Always. Regardless if you're pro-Israel or anti-Israel or somewhere in the middle, it doesn't matter. Their plan all along was to get rid of the Palestinians. That was their plan all along. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you think or you believe or you feel. That was their plan all along. And we're supporting it. Our government's supporting it. Our taxes are going to that. We're giving them the weapons. We're giving them the money. We're giving them the scientists. God knows what kind of codes these scientists are cracking, and they're giving it to Israel. I mean, God help us all, you know. And these scientists are hypocrites. You talk about life. What about the life of Palestinians or Yemenis people? So these scientists seem to be more interested in going to Israel, and that's why they're defending Israel. And they're going to Israel because they want to make money. They want to be recognized. They care more about that and their credibility than they do about human rights. So these scientists are lost. They lost me. They lost human rights. You know, I don't respect any of these scientists, and I don't trust them. And these are the same scientists that have been defending the CIA, and with the UFO people. Okay, you notice whenever there'll be a YouTube content creator, he'll admit he's CIA, or he'll interview somebody that was in the CIA for a long time, and they'll both be pro UFO, and most of them pro Israel as well. And I've seen this in one interview. This middle-aged old CIA guy stopped the whole conversation about UFOs and said the CIA are great men and women. The CIA have changed, especially since 1976. The CIA has changed. They're a great group of people. Now, if you know about history, then you know the CIA has never changed since 1976 or 77. They've perpetrated crimes against humanity way after that. Okay, including right into 1980, Angola, El Salvador, where we trained mercenaries to butcher men, women, and children. Iran-Iraq War, Iran-Contra, BCCI scandal. No, the CIA did not change after 1977. But this is what the pro-Israeli people and the pro-UFO people are promoting on YouTube and everywhere else. That the CIA are good people, and that we have to defend Israel. It's all a lie. And these people are scumbags for saying that. These people are scumbags for saying that what's happening to the Palestinians, they deserve it. It's their fault. Like when we train mercenaries to kill, butcher men, women, and children in El Salvador, it was the El Salvadorians' fault for that, right? No. We did that because because the United States and our allies want to control the world. And we want to control people. And the only way to control people is to make them submissive, to make them submerge, to make them beg and scream and cry in pain and kill their loved ones. That's what makes it a crime against humanity. It's a colonial crime against humanity. It's a war crime. Okay, and these mother effers need to go to prison for the rest of their lives, all of them, including Netanyahu. And he's under investigation for corruption charges. And I don't think that's going away. You know, because a lot of Israelis are mad about the hostage situation. You know. So Netanyahu's day, I believe, is gonna come. I was gonna say it wasn't gonna come, but every time I say that, it comes. I say that about a lot of things. Oh, this guy's never gonna be arrested. That guy's not gonna be arrested, and I turn out to be wrong. So I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say that probably, most likely, Netanyahu's time is coming. His punishment is coming. It may not be the punishment that I want to see, but his punishment is coming. As for the greater Palestinian society, they shouldn't support Hamas, because Hamas has made the situation worse. They have. And, you know, you're not going to win a war with fire when Israel has bombs. I mean, Israel doesn't just have fire. They have the shit that probably we have, and we don't even know that. You know, so the Palestinians need to really sit down, talk to each other, and address what kind of political party they want. And they should obviously pick something that's more progressive. Hamas is not progressive at all. It's regressive. So, and that's going to be up to the Palestinian people, not the authority. Trump is not going to step in. That's clear. And I blame the American people. Now, if you're a voter and you care about the Palestinians, that's one thing. But if you're voting and you care about Israel, then why would you think that Kamala Harris is going to change anything? She's not going to change anything, because she supports Israel. She thinks that what's happening to the Palestinian children are Hamas's fault. That's what she believes in. She may not say it outright, but that's what she believes in. So who are you going to vote for? If you're not going to vote independent, who are you going to vote for? Because the Democrats and the Republicans both support Israel. So if you're going to vote and want things to change over there, it's not going to change that way, you know. But, you know, most Americans love war, right? And so we love guns. So I don't think we're going to vote for our best interest. We're going to vote for what we love, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a registered independent. And I even when I was a registered Democrat, I always voted independent in most cases, even in local in Brooklyn, because I voted for Mark Green back in the day, you know. So I think I said what I wanted to say. It's been a while since I did a video, a very long time. But, you know, I live my life outside YouTube. But I definitely wanna gotta be more, do more videos, you know, be more consistent. But I think I said what I wanted to say, because if I keep talking, I'll probably rant and curse. But even in the YouTube content creator world, when it comes to Israel, don't believe everything you hear. Just think with your own mind, because the truth is usually gray and sometimes dark. And I'm not anti-Semitic. I went to school with kids that were secular Jewish, and I always respected the Hanukkah holiday and all the holidays. Being from Brooklyn, and at that time I was living in a real middle class neighborhood in Brooklyn. And there's definitely something spiritual about Hanukkah and of course Christmas and some of the other holidays, Kwanzaa, and I love the holidays, Thanksgiving, of course, and I love Halloween. I love the Halloween parade. But so this is not coming from a place of anti-Semitism or left wing or right wing. It is coming from the heart, human rights, humanity, human beings, not the YouTube world. Because left or right, a lot of YouTube content creators are getting it wrong, and I'm beginning to see that. And even including people who I follow, I'm like, oh wow, you support China, really? Like Kim Iverson, I support her 99% of the time, except she talks about China. I do not support the Chinese government, the regime, I should say. Same thing with Jimmy Dore. Now I agree with him 99% of the time, except with this Charlie Kirk thing. He was killed by that crazy dude. And I'm seeing it with Noam Chomsky, who's not a YouTube content creator, but he's a historian. And the vaccine thing, and he came out, and he supported the forced vaccinations shut down. I thought he lost his mind. How can you talk about how the United States is anti-democratic and we squash democracies, and you're defending the squashing of democracies by closing everything down and forcing people to get vaccinated? No, you don't do that. Noam Chomsky wasn't supposed to do that. He lost his mind. He was wrong. Completely, utterly wrong. And Amy Goodman. And Noam Chomsky started to get it wrong when he brought up 9/11. So I saw it right away because I pay attention. Amy Goodman got it wrong years ago when she defended Vincent Buglieri on the Kennedy assassination. No. Lee Harvey Oswald is innocent. He did not kill Kennedy. No. That's anti-journalism. Amy Goodman got it wrong. Pacifica got it wrong. But she's trying to get the money. They don't. Noam Chomsky and Amy Goodman will never admit that they were wrong on those things, because they could lose a lot of money. So for them, it's about their careers. It's not about what's right and what's wrong. It's not about human rights, humanity. It's about them. So I lost all respect for all those people who I used to listen to when I was 20, 21 years old. Wrong. So that's my take on the current state of the world right now when it comes to Israel and media. And I'll be back. I'm going to try to do another one tomorrow, if not later, but I'm going to try to be more consistent with these videos. It's just, I'm tired sometimes too, running around, but I'm going to try to be more. I got a new X account also, so maybe I'll start sharing my vlogs on that channel. But anyway, peace, y'all.